What is going on? I am Cole, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to go over my most anticipated comics for November 9th, 2022. So, for those of you who have been here and seen me do this segment before, I always lead with something every single time, and that is that I use the site League of Comic Geeks to set up what I'm doing here. So I go through this every week. I kind of find my top 5 picks for what is coming out from either what I'm pulling, what seems interesting is the new number ones, and just kind of be able to see everything that is out there. The reason that I like to show this is because not all the time does this site have everything correct, unfortunately, and it just makes it so that occasionally there are some times where I recommend a book that does not come out. And it's because certain times there's either paper delays with some of these smaller presses, sometimes they push things back too, there's just delays all over the place, and sometimes they can't have all the right information for some of the smaller publishers, but unfortunately they don't have every publisher there, so there's not really a great site. So hey, if you're here and you do have a site that you use and you can find everything, let me know about that, because I would love to have a better way to figure out how to make this list. And unfortunately, I try to get these out a little bit early, and while my shop will send out everything that they're getting, even that isn't necessarily 100% correct. I don't get that usually until a few days before New Comic Book Day, where I already try and record this video. So once again, thank you for listening to that. And I love to talk about comics, and that's why we're all here. So let's talk about my most anticipated comics for this week. The first one, we're going with The Nice House on the Lake, number 11. I just recently read issues 1 through 6. There is a good chance that I'm going to get caught up on this book so that I can read this book right away, because I reread those issues and it's still fresh on my mind, and I kind of want to just do the reread, get all the way back through. Let's catch up on this book and let's be prepped for it. This is one of my favorite books that James Tynion has done, and Oliveira Martinez Bueno, I think is the artist's name. He does a great job also on everything that comes in this. This book is a little bit dark, a little bit gritty, and I thought we kind of all talked about this as a horror, and while there is some horror aspects, I think this is more of kind of like an apocalyptic book, which is funny because I normally am not a huge fan of those. So Nice House on the Lake, if you haven't heard of this, obviously issue number 11 is not a great starting off point, but I just ended up, for the sake of being easy, reread issue 1 through 6 because it is available on Hoopla. You can also buy the trade for that. So if you are looking for something, I highly recommend that first trade, and I'm excited to reread all the issues and then read issue 11, which is, I think, the penultimate issue of this series. I think some of the unfortunate things that have been happening is I have tried to cut down some of my pull list, and I've gotten behind. One of the things that I've been posting, if you follow me on YouTube, is I've been trying to post what I read lately and just kind of share my experience of catching up on my to-read pile. So I am fairly behind. So sometimes there are certain series that I continuously talk about, but I don't want you to mistake that as me being behind. This usually means that this is just such a great story. And one story that I really want to talk about is Vineyard number 3. This is no exception to that. This is from writer Brian Hawkins with artist Sammy Cavella. I have loved what is going on with this book. It is just enough creepy. There's enough of everything that I like in this. And it's just an overall well-written book. I normally sometimes stay away from Aftershock books just because I think sometimes it seems like their page counts are smaller, but this is a book that I totally have been in love with. It deals with this vineyard and this family and what they have to do to keep their vineyard thriving. There is, a little bit of a romanticness in this. There are some, twists and turns. There's some mystery. There's some horror aspects. I love everything that is going on with this book. I think I've talked about every single issue in this segment, and that is because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I just want to continuously talk about this book. The next book up this is one book that is very hard to know if it actually is coming out because I wasn't able to really second check this, but it is Orc Island number 2. Now you're thinking, hey, Orc Island number 1 just came out. Yes, it did. It came out, 2 days from when I'm recording this, or actually yesterday, sorry. But the crazy thing is, I think Bad Idea has kind of done some cool things. And one of the cool things, I think, with some of these adventure books that they do, more fantasy style, is, similar to, I forgot what it was called, but it was something with an I. Odin's Eye, I think it was called. They did weekly releases. So I'm hoping that that is what this is, because it looks to me like, from what I see on League of Comic Geeks, that we're going to get an issue of this for the next 3 weeks after this. And I love that first issue. This is fantastic. I'm normally not a huge fantasy reader. Normally I like to, do my fantasy and like D&D and stuff like that. But I love that first issue. It had a very good backup story in my opinion. And yeah, so this is writer Joshua Dysart and Alberto Ponticelli. I did a quick review up here. So I'll do that for issue 1. There are sort of some spoilers in that, but I would think that if you weren't able to get this issue, it might be hard kind of getting it, and you might have a little bit longer to find it. So I think it's not, there's not enough there to really ruin it, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this, and I've really enjoyed what I saw. The art is fantastic, and I think these new releases of Bad Idea made me realize how much I miss Bad Idea. I know that some people might not like their marketing or what they're doing, and maybe I'm trying to become Bad Idea's #1 fan, but I'm gonna scream it from the rooftop that whether you like the story or not, every book they put out is a solid product. It is a high quality book. It is a high quality story, and while it might not be to the vein of what you like, I think everything they're doing is good, right? I don't think they've actually released anything that is bad per se. I might not have liked certain stories compared to other stories, but nothing has really been bad yet. So this is something new that I kind of want to incorporate, and I want to put this here too, is that if you're out there and you have a comic that you're really stoked for and you want to talk about, please let me know. I would love to incorporate other people into this video to just talk about what they're excited for. Let me know. It doesn't even have to be your favorite, what you're looking forward to read. If there's just a cover that you love and you are gushing over, let me know about it, because, I really enjoy hearing what other people like and seeing what other people like. So I wanted to incorporate some people throughout this community within this segment. So if you're here and you're like, you know what, Cole, I love this segment and I would like to add to it, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram is down below. You can jump in on here. And here's my buddy Dan Piercy over at D Piercy Comics. I'll also have his Instagram and his YouTube down below. Please go give him a follow if you haven't already. He is an awesome, awesome dude.
Hello, beautiful people. I am Dan Piercy of D Piercy's Comics, and my most anticipated book for the week of November 9th, book's coming out on November 9th, that's Wednesday, is none other than Do a Power Bomb, number 6, from Daniel Warren Johnson, doing both artist and author duties. It's his love letter to pro wrestling, but you don't have to be a pro wrestling fan to enjoy it. I know lots of people who aren't pro wrestling fans who are digging it. This book is going to make many year-end lists, I'm certain. Don't want to get into the plot too much other than to say it's about a young girl who enters a interplanetary wrestling tournament, influenced, let's say, by her mom with a tag team partner. I've got the B cover showing there. It's just a really fun book. It's probably my favorite thing I've read from Daniel Warren Johnson. He does essays in the back, recommends wrestling matches from like New Japan Pro Wrestling and other companies in the back. And so that's it. Do a Power Bomb number 6. I think this is the final issue too. So that's it from me, Dan Piercy of D Piercy's Comics, and I'm out. Thanks, Cole.
I left this one here because this kind of, too, with the way that he did his, this is a book that I probably would have had on my list, but I did not incorporate it because I found out that he had it. And I thought, well, Do a Powerbomb does have a chance to possibly be my book of the year. I figure I don't need to explain it to you because he's doing it here too. So we don't need to double down on that, even though this is such a fantastic book. I do want to add to, I think that he mentioned that he thinks this might be the last issue. I looked it up on League of Comic Geeks. I think that there's a 7th issue, so I don't know if this is penultimate or if there's going to be another arc or something else, but it does look like there is at least one more issue of this. All right, and my next book up is Specs #1. This is from Boom Studios. I think that there's been a long period of time since I have had a Boom Studio book on this, but I have been actually reading these things a little bit. While this does have a great story, I think that this seems like a very cool story, and it's kind of about these two teens end up ordering a pair of X-ray glasses, and it just has a little bit more in store for them than they imagined. As you can see from this cover over here, they, maybe they're seeing maybe there's some dead people, there's ghosts, something that they didn't know, or they're seeing just the evil in people. Who knows? But I think that these specs are going to turn the world upside down for them. And let's see what really comes from this. It is from writer David M. Boer, which I have not heard of them, and artist Chris Sheehan, also have not heard of them. So let me know if you have any other books you've heard from them, and whether you like it or not, because, sometimes, we look at these books, they sound good, but if there's certain artists or, authors that maybe some people don't like, maybe it'll sway me to go one way or another. But I think Specs #1 seems like a fun book, seems kind of horror-y, kind of spooky, and probably something that I'll overall enjoy. So I'm at least going to check out that #1 and let you know whether or not you think, or I think you should too. And the final book here, this is a book that I've actually seen multiple times on here, so I definitely confirmed with previews that this book seems to be coming out, and it is Killcella #1. This is from Scout Comics. I've kind of gotten away from talking about Scout Comics for a little bit. I ended up dropping my Scout Comics subscription, so unfortunately it kind of led me to delay, and I probably lost a few titles that I probably really enjoyed and wanted to read. But I think that the good thing is that now that I'm starting to pick up maybe a few of these #1s from them, I can start giving them more chance with the series. But this is mostly about a group of a group of friends end up going to Coachella, and after not being around for 5 years, a pop star makes their way back, and there is a massive human sacrifice ritual. So I think this is going to be very spooky. It seems like the perfect concept for a horror movie. I'm very into the slasher movies, so I think this could fit very well in that. This is from writer Mario Candellari and artist Serge Acuna, and once again, I butcher names a lot, so sorry if I butchered those names, but I think this cover looks just spooky enough, and I think this is going to be a fun book that hopefully I should enjoy. So once again, thank you for coming back to my channel. And if you are new here and you really enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe. Everyone else that has been here, thank you for coming. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what book you're looking most forward to, which cover you are looking most forward to, or even if you just saw a cover that you loved of what me or Dan were talking about, please let us know. I also ask you and encourage you, if you are not already, go over to Dan's channel. He does some FOC videos where he goes through kind of what he's pulling. He looks at some of the stuff. He talks about it. If you get in there and he's going live, he'll look at a book you want, and you can distract him while he's doing something that he probably doesn't want to be distracted with. I know I've done that, and I think it's very funny. He also does covers of the week. He writes some cool songs that he puts onto his videos. He does a lot of cool shorts too. So once again, I encourage you to go over there and sub up. So once again, thank you for coming back. I have been Cole, and these are my most anticipated comics for November 9th, 2022. All right, peace.